Right now, you are sitting inside something Henry Ford made possible. Not the car. The idea that ordinary people deserve to own one. Before Ford, a car cost more than a house. Only the wealthy moved fast. He changed that. And in doing so, he changed everything about how the world works. He failed twice before he found the thing that worked. He was broke at 36, laughed at by investors, abandoned by partners. Then he built the most powerful industrial empire the world had ever seen. 7 levels, 7 decisions. None of them obvious. All of them available to anyone paying attention. You are a farm boy from Dearborn, Michigan. You are about to make the first decision. Level 1. The failure. It is 1863. You are born on a farm in Dearborn, Michigan. Your father, William, wants you to inherit the farm, to plant corn, to live the life he lived. You hate farming. You hate it with every part of yourself. At 12 years old, you see a steam engine on the road, not attached to horses, moving by itself. You run to it. You talk to the engineer for an hour. You ask every question you can think of. You walk home that day knowing exactly what you want to do with your life. Not farming, engines. At 16, you leave the farm. You walk to Detroit. You have no money and no connections. You apprentice at a machine shop for $2.50 a week. At night, you repair watches for extra money. You sleep 4 hours. You work the rest. You spend years learning everything about engines, how they breathe, how they fail, how they can be made better. In 1891, Edison Illuminating Company hires you as an engineer. You are 28 years old. You have a steady salary, a house, a wife named Clara who believes in you completely. Every night after work, you go to your shed. You are building something. A gasoline engine, small enough to put in a vehicle. On Christmas Eve, 1893, you finish the first version. You bring it to the kitchen sink. You drip gasoline into the intake. Clara feeds in electricity from the light socket. The engine runs. It runs for 30 seconds. But 30 seconds is enough. You know it works. In 1896, you build your first vehicle, a quadricycle, 4 bicycle wheels, a small engine, a tiller to steer. It is too wide for the shed door. You take an axe and knock out the brick wall to get it out. At 4 a.m., you drive it through the streets of Detroit. A friend rides ahead on a bicycle warning people to get out of the way. You meet Thomas Edison at a company banquet that year. You tell him what you are building. Edison slams his fist on the table. Young man, that is the thing. Keep at it. That moment of validation from the most famous inventor in America changes somethings in you. In 1899, you quit Edison Illuminating. You co-found the Detroit Automobile Company. Investors put in money. You are chief engineer. The pressure is on to produce cars and sell them. You cannot do it, not under these conditions. The investors want cheap cars fast. You want perfect cars right. By 1901, the Detroit Automobile Company collapses. 18 months. 0 production cars, your first failure. Most people stop here. 1 failure in business is enough for a lifetime. You do not stop. You build a race car. In October 1901, your car defeats the national champion Alexander Winton in a race near Detroit. The newspapers call you a genius. New investors appear immediately. In 1901, you co-found the Henry Ford Company. You are chief engineer again. But the investors bring in a consultant named Henry Leland to oversee your work. You refuse to work under supervision. You walk out. Again. your second failure. You are 39 years old, twice bankrupt, twice abandoned. But here is what you know that nobody else does yet. You are not building the wrong thing. You are building with the wrong people. Level 2, the obsession. It is 1903. You are 40 years old. You have one more chance. A coal merchant named John Gray agrees to invest. A lawyer named John Dodge, his brother Horace. Together you raise $28,000, June 16, 1903. Ford Motor Company is born. You start with 12 employees, a converted wagon factory on Mack Avenue in Detroit. In the first year, you sell 1,708 cars. You make $37,000 in profit in the first 3 months. The investors want dividends. You pay them. But your mind is already somewhere else entirely. You have an obsession. Not building some more cars. Building the right car. A car for the great multitude, those with modest incomes. Every car in 1903 is hand-built, each one different, each one expensive, each one unreliable. You believe the solution is the opposite of everything the industry is doing. One car, one design, built the same way every single time, in massive numbers. You spend 4 years testing designs, Model A, Model B, Model C, Model F, Model K. Nothing is right yet. You keep going. Your investors are getting impatient. They want premium cars. Luxury models, higher margins. You tell them no. The money is in volume. The money is in making cars that everyone can afford. They think you are an idealist. You think they are thinking too small. In 1907, you start work on what will become the Model T. Simple, light, strong. Vanadium steel alloy that is stronger and lighter than anything competitors use. You design it to be repaired by farmers, by people with no mechanical training whatsoever. Every part is interchangeable, every bolt standardized. Any Ford can be fixed with any Ford part. October 1st, 1908. The Model T launches. It costs $825. Comparable cars cost $2,000. In the first year, you sell 10,300 units, more than any car in history. Orders pour in faster than you can build. The problem is no longer selling cars. The problem is building enough of them. Level 3, the breakthrough. It is 1910. You move production to the Highland Park plant, the biggest, most modern factory ever built for a single product. You have engineers, you have time. You have one question burning in your mind. How do you make 10 cars in the time it currently takes to make one? You watch your workers. You time every motion with a stopwatch. You see the waste. A worker walks 20 steps to get a part, 20 steps back, all day. You bring the parts to the worker instead of the worker to the parts. In 1913, you introduced the moving assembly line. Before the assembly line, building one Model T took 12 hours and 28 minutes. After the assembly line, one Model T takes 93 minutes. 93 minutes. The entire industry is stunned. You can now build more cars in a day than your competitors build in a month. But there is a problem. Workers hate the assembly line. The work is mindless and repetitive. In 1913, your turnover rate is 370%. You have to hire 40 workers to keep 10. On January 5th, 1914, you announce something that stops the country cold. $5 a day. Double the industry standard wage. Wall Street calls it economic madness. Other manufacturers say you will destroy the industry. You tell them they are wrong. You tell them paying workers well is not charity, it is strategy. If your workers earn $5 a day, they can afford to buy the car they are building. You are not just building a product, you are building the customer. 10,000 men show up outside Highland Park the morning after the announcement. The line stretches for miles. In January, in Michigan, turnover drops from 370% to 16% overnight. Productivity explodes. Quality improves. Costs fall. The $5 day is the single most brilliant business decision of the 20th century. Level 4. The Empire. By 1914, you control 50% of the American automobile market. One of every 2 cars on American roads is a Ford. By 1918, half of all cars in the entire world are Model Ts. You now start thinking about something nobody else is thinking about. You depend on suppliers. Suppliers can fail. Suppliers can raise prices. Suppliers have power over you. You decide to eliminate suppliers entirely. You buy iron ore mines in Michigan. You buy coal mines in Kentucky and West Virginia. You buy forests in the Upper Peninsula to make wooden parts. You buy a railroad to move raw materials. You buy a fleet of ships to move iron ore across the Great Lakes. You buy rubber plantations in Brazil. In 1917, you begin building River Rouge, the largest industrial complex ever constructed. 16 million square feet. 103 miles of railroad track inside the facility. 75,000 workers. Its own police force. Its own hospital. Its own school. Raw iron ore enters at one end. A finished automobile exits the other end. 48 hours later. No other company in history has ever achieved this level of vertical integration. You are worth $1 billion in 1925. In today's money, over $30 billion. Every single share of Ford Motor Company is owned by you and your family. You answer to no one. No board, no shareholders, no Wall Street. You have built something no one in history has built before. An empire with a single owner. Level 5. The Mistake. It is 1921. The Model T is 15 years old. It still looks exactly like it did in 1908. Same design, same black color, no modifications. You believe this is a virtue. If the car works perfectly, why change it? Your engineers beg you to update the design. Your dealers beg you to add colors. You famously say the customer can have any color they want as long as it is black. In 1908, that was strength. In 1921, it is beginning to look like stubbornness. Meanwhile, at General Motors, a man named Alfred Sloan is watching you. Sloan has a different theory. Give customers choices. Different models for different incomes. Chevrolet for workers, Buick for managers, Cadillac for executives. And he offers colors, dozens of them, new designs every year. In 1921, Ford has 60% of the American market. GM has 12%. By 1926, Ford has down to 34%. GM has up to 36%. In 5 years, GM has overtaken you. Without a single new technology. Just design, color, choice, things you refuse to provide. In May 1927, you finally admit it. You shut down every Ford factory in America. 50,000 workers lose their jobs while you redesign. 6 months of silence. No production, no income. In December 1927, the Model A launches. New design, multiple colors, lower price. Dealers receive 10 million reservation requests before a single car is delivered. You recover, but you have lost something you will never fully get back. The lead. The lesson you refuse to learn. The customer is not obligated to want what you decide to build. Level 6. The fall. It is 1919. Your son Edsel is 26 years old. You make him president of Ford Motor Company, but you never stop controlling everything, every decision, every design, every hire. Edsel is talented. He has taste. He wants to modernize Ford's designs. Every time he tries, you override him publicly, in front of the staff. You hire a man named Harry Bennett as your enforcer. Bennett has no automotive knowledge. He is a former Navy boxer with underworld connections. He controls hiring and firing. He surrounds you with informants. He intimidates workers and executives alike. In 1932, your workers try to organize a union. Bennett sends men to stop them. The Hunger March at Dearborn. 5 workers are shot and killed. Many more are beaten. The country turns against you. You have also made a terrible moral error that will follow your name forever. You published and funded a newspaper called the Dearborn Independent. For 7 years, it published deeply anti-Semitic articles, weekly. Adolf Hitler quoted you by name, kept your portrait on his wall, called you an inspiration. You were the only American named in Mein Kampf. In 1927, under legal pressure, you issued an apology. But the damage to your name and legacy was permanent. In 1943, your son Edsel dies. He is 49 years old. The official cause is stomach cancer. Those close to him say it was a broken heart. You destroyed your own son, the one person who could have saved the company you built. In 1943, you take back the presidency at age 80. You are not well. You cannot run the company. Ford Motor Company is losing $1 million every single day. The U.S. government considers taking it over. A car company cannot fail in wartime. Level 7. The legacy. It is 1945. Your grandson, Henry Ford II, is 28 years old. He has been in the Navy. He has never worked a day in the auto industry. Your wife, Clara, tells you directly, hand the company to Henry II, or I will sell my shares. Clara has never interfered in business. In 50 years of marriage, this is the first time. You listen to her. In September 1945, you step down. Henry II takes over. Henry II fires Harry Bennett on his first day. He hires a group of young Air Force statisticians called the Whiz Kids. They build modern management systems, financial controls, accountability structures. Ford Motor Company stops losing money within 2 years. On April 7th, 1947, Henry Ford dies at his estate, Fair Lane. He is 83 years old. 100,000 people line the streets of Detroit to pay their respects. Ford Motor Company is still one of the largest companies on earth today. The Ford F-150 has been the best-selling vehicle in America for 47 consecutive years. The moving assembly line he invented is used in every factory and every industry on earth. The 40-hour work week, the minimum wage, the middle class that can afford to own things. All of it traces back to one farm boy in Michigan who hated farming and loved engines. Level 1. Leave what you are supposed to do. Chase what you cannot stop thinking about. Level 2. Find the right partners. The wrong partners are worse than no partners. Level 3. Pay people enough that they can afford to buy what they build. The customer and the worker are the same person. Level 4. Control everything in your supply chain if you want to control your destiny. Level 5. The thing that made you dominant will become the thing that makes you obsolete if you refuse to change it. Level 6. You can build an empire and destroy it yourself at the same time. Power without wisdom costs everything. Level 7. The best thing you can leave behind is something that runs without you. Right now, somewhere, there is a process everyone accepts as the only way to do something. It takes 12 hours when it could take 93 minutes. Somewhere, someone is looking at that process the way Henry Ford looked at workers walking 20 steps to get a part. 7 levels, 7 decisions. A farm in Michigan to the most powerful industrial empire in history. 0 to throne. Leave a comment with the level that hit hardest. Subscribe for the next empire. Before Ford, only doctors and lawyers owned cars. He changed who got to move fast through the world. You are the 7th of 8 children. Your mother Mary dies when you are 12. The farm becomes even lonelier. You take apart every watch and clock in the house to understand how they work. Neighbors start bringing you their broken timepieces. At Edison. Illuminating, you rise quickly. By 1896, you are chief engineer, highest paid engineer in the company. Edison himself tells you to abandon the gasoline engine. The future is electric. You respectfully disagree. You name the new car after the county you grew up in. Henry Ford did not name it after himself. He named it after home. You race your own cars yourself. Not for publicity, because you need to understand how they fail under pressure. In 1904, you set the land speed record. 91 miles per hour on frozen Lake St. Clair. In January. You use the publicity from racing victories to sell the idea that Ford cars are reliable and powerful. You study meatpacking plants in Chicago. They move carcasses along overhead rails. Each worker does one thing. You apply the same logic in reverse. Instead of disassembly, assembly. Instead of moving the product down, moving it past the workers. The first assembly line test runs in 1913 for magnetos. Magneto assembly time drops from 20 minutes to 5. You roll it out to the entire car, then time it, then optimize again, then time it again. Endless refinement. By 1921, Ford produces 1 million cars a year. The next largest competitor produces 100,000. You keep cutting the price of the Model T every single year. As production gets more efficient, you share the savings with the buyer. In 1908, a Model T cost $825. By 1924, it costs $260. The same car, a third of the price. You publish a book called My Life and Work in 1922. It becomes an international bestseller, translated into 12 languages. In the Soviet Union, Lenin orders 500,000 copies distributed to factory managers. You also make a strategic error with dealers. You force them to take cars they have not ordered and cannot sell. In 1921, you have a cash crisis. You ship cars to every dealer in America and tell them the payment is due immediately. Dealers borrow from banks to pay you. Ford survives the crisis. The dealers suffer. The relationship never fully recovers. In 1936, you and Edsel create the Ford Foundation together. It becomes one of the largest philanthropic organizations in history. It is the one thing you build together that he is proud of and you do not destroy. Henry Ford II transforms the company over 20 years. Ford goes public in 1956. Largest IPO in history at that time. The Mustang launches in 1964. 500,000 sold in the first year. It saves Ford's future and defines American car culture. None of this happens without the foundation the old man built. The obsession, the assembly line, the $5 day. Every iPhone, every Tesla, Every product made at scale anywhere in the world uses the logic of an assembly line. That logic came from a man who hated farming and could not stop taking clocks apart.